each week. And last week we started doing a series on ancestry, which we'll continue today. Okay, so let's bring ourselves with our body on our seat in the room, in the building, in the place, maybe the street, maybe the village, city or town, wherever you are. Just be aware of the physical context of where you are. And coming back to your body, come inside it. And bring your focus right to the bottom of your spine. Be right there. And slowly ascend your spine, bit by bit, straightening it out and maybe stretching it a little as you go. And as you do that, you can also relax any other part of your body that may be tense, because the spine is doing all the job of holding you up. And when you reach your neck, pause and put your attention both sides to your shoulders and make your shoulders in a straight line going right through your throat. And especially relax the shoulders. The shoulders are like a coat hanger on a sort of peg. And your body is like a garment hanging off the coat hanger. The peg is like on a coat stand, which is very strong, like your spine. And bring your attention both sides down your arms. Make sure your elbows aren't touching your body. And come right to your hands, which are symmetrically arranged in a very comfortable, relaxed way. And now bring your attention to the lower part of your body from your waist down. This is where you create physical stability. If you're on a chair if you're on a chair, then the stability is by putting your bottom firmly on the chair and your feet flat on the ground. And if you're like me on a cushion on the floor, then you can cross your legs or arrange them like I have mine in a half lotus, what we call a half lotus posture, which is very stable because both my knees are also touching the ground. So it's like my knees form a pyramid, a sort of tripod, yeah. Whatever posture you take, it should be stabilizing in this part. And again, coming back to the base of the spine, we've got a straight line going up from there to the neck, which is the spinal column. And if we take that line imaginatively downwards, we take it through the floor of the room, through the foundations of the building, right into the earth beneath, eventually reaching the center of the earth, where we all meet, regardless of where we're seated on the planet. And now zoom right up that line, up through your spine, and come into your head, which is kind of the media center of your being, because it contains most of your senses, like the eyes, the ears, the nose for smelling, the tongue and mouth for tasting. And it also includes your brain, which sort of manages all the information and figuring out that we do. And we're going to give the media center a bit of a rest in order to meditate. So feel these different things shutting down a bit. In other words, it's like you switch them off. They still function a wee bit, like you can still hear me. You can still, if you've got eyes closed, you can still see some light, but you're not focusing on anything too much like that. So shut down your eyes. Even if they're open, you can still shut down the function. Your ears, apart from my words. And your mouth, your jaw, your throat, all that we use for speaking and eating and drinking. And last but not least, just not completely shut down, but let go a little bit of the brain. It's still there. It'll be there when you need it later. But we're not going to meditate from the brain. We're going to meditate from the heart or navel centers, which are much lower in our body. But before we go there, let's just keep going up above the brain to the very top of the head. Just rest your attention there a moment and experience a kind of lightness. It's still in a direct line to the center of the earth. And if you follow that line upwards, it goes through the ceiling, the roof, the clouds, if there are some, to the clear blue sky and the vast expanse of space. So this imaginary line from the vast expanse of space through to the center of the earth is like our axis. It includes many things outside of us, like the meeting between sky and earth, which generates the atmosphere, which gives us the air to breathe, just for example. There are many other things. But when you come back to your own body, you can feel that you have a strong affinity with the earth beneath and equally strong affinity with the sky above. So bring your attention now to the interior of your body, within your rib cage or lower in your belly, wherever is comfortable. And just being there, feel this strong connection with both the sky and the earth and everything around about. And this body is sustained by breathing. Breathing in the oxygen, which is part of the Earth's atmosphere. So bring your attention to your nostrils, the gateway to the outside. Observing the flow of breath. You can still meditate from lower down, or you can meditate right at the tips of the nostrils. The main thing is to sustain this object, these sensations of the breath, entering and leaving. And gradually let go of thinking about what you're doing or thinking about anything else. Just experience the sensations of the breath. And experience the sensations right in the here and now. Let go of what has gone before. And don't anticipate what's coming in the future. Just be present. And if your mind does start storytelling, just quieten it down and let go. And because you're staying in the present, appreciate the uniqueness of every present moment as it arises. It has never happened before, and it will never happen again. And appreciate the awareness that enables you to do this meditation. If you were just a breathing machine, there would be no awareness. Only a person with awareness can meditate. And even among those with awareness, there are many who, for different reasons, can't meditate. So be appreciative. Okay, short break, changing posture, stretching, whatever, having a drink. And when you're ready, come back to your meditation posture or a new posture, but something suitable for meditating. And we're starting this series on self and others with the topic of ancestry, because we have much deeper roots than we usually realize. And last week we meditated on the ancestry of place. And this week we're going to meditate on the ancestry of family. I think that's the best term. We can say flesh and blood or genes, but I think in general we can say family. And we will be starting with our parents. So there may be people who don't know one or both their parents, in which case you can either work with those who fulfill that role for you in life, or you can imagine your parents, because we will be using quite a lot of imagination in this meditation today. So let's just start by being where we are on our seat, recollecting how many years since we were born. And being aware that we've been through many changes in that time. We've all had our ups and our downs, our challenges and our successes, our happiness, our sadness. And these things have all had an impact on what we are now, sitting here. And when you go right back, your parents or those who parented you become increasingly important, especially when you go into early childhood. And when we reflect on what we are, something of our parents has conditioned us. Each one's a different line of energy, memory, history. And in some ways we're a combination of the two. Not only that, but that's part of what we are. And now we're going to go right back and we're going to start using more imagination, because we're going to go into the womb and go right back to the moment of conception, where for probably most of us, these two individuals had a key role. And we might wonder what brought them together. To create this baby. So when I put a question like that, in some ways it's good to just respond with a feeling, not too many words. You might be able to feel something of what drew them together. And at that point, they were younger than we can ever remember them. Probably younger than we are now. They were what we might call young people. And each of them had her or his own history since their birth. They were shaped by many experiences, in many different parts of the world, perhaps. Living in a different time from where we are now. A time when there were different attitudes in many ways. Certainly different technology. Different environment and fashion. Even diet. And each of them had been through their early years, teenagers, young children, in their families. Which formed them. And just like me, they had parents, my grandparents, who came together in two pairs to create a baby. And those were different times again. The culture of that time had quite a lot of differences from now, and maybe they were from different parts of the world with very different cultures from what I experience now. And those grandparents, they also went through different ups and downs, happiness and sadness, challenges, successes. And something of each of them flowed into my parents, and something from each of them flowed into me. And when we go back before our grandparents, it's just possible that you actually met a great grandparent or two. I did. And again, they grew up in a different time again. When we get to great-grandparents, of course, we're talking about 8. So the numbers keep doubling as we go back. So the number of streams that flow into the river, which is my life, is more and more. Maintain your presence on your seat as the meditator right now, and have a sense of this ancestry stretching back. You might imagine them above you or behind you or around you, all flowing in one way or another into you. And as you go further and further out, of course, not only does the number become more extensive, but the time becomes more and more distant, and the society very different. We can go right back through the Industrial Revolution, the Middle Ages, right back through the history of different empires and shifts in power. And my ancestors lived through all those times, just as I'm living through this time. They dealt with the challenges of their time, just as I have to deal with the challenges of my time. And you can also look a little into the future, especially if you have children of your own. But it can even happen with people like nephews and nieces, or even neighbors' children, that something of you is flowing into the future. So just to round up, this person sitting here meditating is part of a long continuum from the past into the future. Just be that part right now, at this moment, also changing as we go. Aware of all the rivers and streams that have flowed into us. And anything that flows from us into the future. And just finally sort of relax a little, acknowledging, accepting this sort of role that we play as a kind of conduit from the past to the future. And don't be overwhelmed by it. Just, although it is overwhelming in one way, but just sort of sit with it, saying, okay, this is it.